For the third capstone, I'm looking at Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea is part of the Coral Triangle, which is a part of the world that hosts the most biodiversity in all of the oceans. This area that spans 5.7 million square miles has 800 types of coral, 76% of the world's coral species, and over a quarter of the world's reef fish species. This is a place of importance in the study of how carbon dioxide affects marine life because of the naturally occurring vents on the seafloor that release CO2 into the ocean. Researchers were able to see in real life how marine life reacted to higher levels of CO2 and predict how the rest of the ocean's creatures may respond if emissions remain at the level they are today. In the Seattle Times article, there's a video featuring a fisherman explaining that fish, turtles, and other creatures avoid the vents. He and other fishermen know to avoid the area if they hope to catch anything. The video also explained researchers studied the effects of CO2 on clownfish in the coral reefs in Papua New Guinea and found that it had a negative effect on their brains. It limited their abilities by disrupting brain function, which affects their hearing, sight, and sense of smell, and even navigational abilities. Another article explained that the fish were attracted to the smell of their predators and left the safety of the reef and were eaten. The fishermen are not only dealing with smaller potential catches, but the fish that are left behind are being eaten by larger aquatic predators. In one article, 3 generations of fishermen spoke. The first spoke of how years ago he could catch 20 huge fish in 1 hour. The second generation fisherman stated that he could catch 20 large fish, but it took him 5 hours. The third stood up and said that currently, even after 5 hours of fishing, he'd catch only 1 fish, and that was only as big as his hand, and it isn't enough to feed his family. The fear is that the 4th generation may be the one that has to go without fish. It's estimated that 85% of the coastal population lives directly off of the ocean. This region is vulnerable because not only is it located within the Ring of Fire with high volcanic activity that contributes the CO2 emissions underwater, the ocean is becoming acidified by the carbon emissions the rest of the world is producing as well. Fishermen are already having a hard time surviving in this line of work, and if the level of acidification continues to rise, it may cause the coral reef to be destroyed completely. I wasn't able to locate information on the future forecasts of ocean acidification in Papua New Guinea, but the video did speak of the coral reef being taken over by seagrass and algae. If the overall levels of CO2 emission doesn't decrease by the major contributors, the coral reef and the life it sustains there could be permanently lost. In an effort to protect marine life, the Nature Conservancy of Papua New Guinea designated marine protection areas beginning with Kimbe Bay in 2007. In 2017, an additional 7,500 square kilometers of protection was added to the Bismarck Sea. The Wildlife Conservation Society has partnered with the government of Papua New Guinea with the goal of protecting 10% of its ocean territory by 2025.